I'm not the same Brooklyn you knew.
Jurassic World Chaos Theory confirms that an untold story was hidden from the viewers. But what can we speculate about it from what we know so far? Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Jurassic World Chaos Theory video. Today I want to return to some important dialogue from season 1 of the show, as I believe there's an untold story that happened here that explains a lot in the entire franchise and not just Chaos Theory. At first, it seems like a passing by comment, but once you deep it, there's a lot more to it than what we initially thought. With Chaos Theory Season 2 coming out in just over a week's time now, I highly recommend subscribing to the channel so that you don't miss an upload, as brand new clips and images should hopefully be releasing this week and next. We will also be covering a lot of Season 2 content after it is released, so make sure you're sticking around for also that. Not to mention the Jurassic World Rebirth news, Jurassic World Evolution 3 and Jurassic Park survival information that will be hopefully coming in the next few months. Man, is it a good time to be a Jurassic fan. So as we aim for 250,000 subscribers by the end of the year, please help us out by pressing that subscribe button. But for now, you're probably sat here wondering what this hidden story is in Jurassic World Chaos Theory. Well, once you're ready, got some snacks, sat back and relaxed, and enjoying your G Fuel after using code SWERVE, it's time to uncover the untold story in Jurassic World Chaos Theory.
I didn't know Bumpy was staying here.
We snuck her out here right before the whole Mantah Corp Island investigation.
So from that very clip right there, whilst it may be very short, it is still an interesting clip nonetheless. This was taken directly from, I believe, episode 4 season 1 of Jurassic World Chaos Theory, and it's one of our first ever times and only times we get mention of Mantah Corp, which, as you guys probably guessed by now, is exactly what we're talking about in today's video. Mantah Corp was a company that was very heavily featured in the later seasons for Jurassic World Camp Cretaecous, and ever since those later seasons got very bad reception, we kind of didn't really get to know too much about them. For example, Camp Cretaecous seasons 1 to 3, they're on DVDs and you can buy them, but you can't get seasons 4 and 5. Seasons 4 and 5 had the worst reputation of anything Jurassic, and not only that, there is no volume 5 of Camp Cretaecous for the junior novelization, so we can kind of see that in our world, Universal and DreamWorks seem to be staying away from what was seasons 4 and 5 and want to focus more on what happened in Camp Cretaecous seasons 1 and 3. Which were undoubtedly some of the best seasons and maybe even some of the best Jurassic productions we've got in forever. So Mantah Corp being involved with seasons 4 and 5 is understandably probably not going to appear too heavily in the show. Of course it did need to show up somehow because Daniel Kahn did appear in Jurassic World Chaos Theory. Therefore Mantah Corp had to have some kind of play in this storyline. Now it wasn't as big as we were initially expecting, but nevertheless we still got some decent amount of information regarding Mantah Corp for us to speculate about. So it seems as though with the very quiet mention of Mantah Corp in just one scene of Jurassic World Chaos Theory Season 1, it's a bit obvious that they are trying to ignore the events of Seasons 4 and 5 of Camp Cretaecous. However, if we were to look at it canonically, we simply just cannot ignore it because it is canon. It's happened in the timeline and there's no way of retconning it. In fact, what happens in Camp Cretaecous Seasons 4 and 5 do show up in Jurassic World Dominion as well and actually explain what happened in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, therefore it's logical to say it works to some degree, so let's not remove it from canon entirely. So that's what they're kind of doing here, and I think it's a great way to go about it. Therefore you don't step on the toes on what actually happened in Camp Cretaecous, but you can also still add minor things to the story after the events of Camp Cretaecous. So with that being said, what can we speculate? So, with the clip that we saw at the start of this video, we know that Mantah Corp was shut down to some degree and there was some kind of investigation on the island. So this means that the dinosaurs were clearly taken off of the island. We actually get to see this because we see Big E.T. at the end of season 1 of the show. And we also know that Bumpy was brought over as well. Although I think Big E.T. was probably more official and Bumpy was probably Sammy and maybe somebody that she knew went over and got Bumpy themselves. Either way, we know the dinosaurs have been taken off the island and people have explored this unknown island, which means that the Spinoceratops and the Spinosaurus were also moved as well. As far as we know, the Spinoceratops were in fact left behind on Mantah Corp Island, as well as the Spinosaurus. Now, it's hard to tell whether they were taken off the island in 2018, 1920, 2021, 2022. It could literally be any of those years, but judging how recent it sounds that they managed to get bumpy and seeing that Big E.T. is still in a container, I would probably say it's quite safe to say that it happened at the early stages of 2022 instead. So since we do know that these dinosaurs were taken off of the island, who exactly took them off? Was it done officially by the governments? A private organization? Who knows? So, if it was to be done by the governments, it would be something obviously more official and they are aware of these dinosaurs. But that means something probably happened to the Spinoceratops and the Spinosaurus, one of them being a hybrid that people have never seen before, and the other one being the most threatening land creature to ever walk the planet. But if it wasn't done by the governments, then it's safe to say that it might have been done by Biosyn or somebody working on behalf of Biosyn. How do we know this? Well, in Jurassic World Dominion, it's shown that Biosyn work with international governments across the world to capture these dinosaurs and rehouse them in their Biosyn facility. So therefore, it's obvious that Biosyn must have clearly been working with somebody, whether that's a small company or maybe even an actual government body, to allow them to capture these dinosaurs and rehouse them in Italy. But then you must be thinking, yeah, okay, that sounds logical, but is there anything more to this story? Well, as we know, Lewis Dodson, the CEO of Biosyn, managed to get his way over to Isla Nublar, talked to Daniel Kahn, and wanted to pay an installment to have these brain chips used that we see in Camp Cretaceous seasons 4 and 5. Now, these brain chips are eventually used in Jurassic World Dominion, as we can see these dinosaurs being ordered to move away from the sanctuary and into the facility at the end of Jurassic World Dominion during the fire. So we do know that they do get their hands on the chips somehow. Now, we never really got a better explanation as to how this happened, because the chips were left behind on Mantah Corp Island, and Lewis Dodson only went to Isla Nublar, so there's no guarantee that he knew exactly where these chips were. Well, with this information that there was an investigation on Mantah Corp Island, and with how well we know that Biosyn works with governments, I find it highly likely that Lewis Dodson heard about this situation and decided to send Biosyn workers and employees over to this investigation on Mantah Corp Island and acquire those brain chips and the science. And that goes ahead and explains how the mind chips from Camp Cretaceous seasons 4 and 5 got into the hands of Biosyn in Jurassic World Dominion. That's a story that's neatly tied up now, because originally we knew that something happened, but it was a little bit confusing because we had no idea how they managed to get to Mantah Corp Island. But now, from that one quote alone by Sammy, it's obvious how that went down. So that leads us to question, what actually happened to Mantah Corp? Well, it's quite obvious it was shut down and liquidated, and we even see Daniel Kahn was locked up. So the company was completely shut down and was no longer in working. The assets of Mantah Corp Island were also seized, such as Big E.T. for example. Bumpy managed to get away, but I also presume that the other residents, such as Firecracker, Angel and Rebel, the other dinosaurs like Spinosaurus, would have also been seized as well by someone. And as for the island, it may have been left alone just to be a natural island, or maybe even the science and technology was also seized by the government and probably Biosyn as well. So all in all, I believe that a hidden story here that many people seem to miss is that Biosyn got involved with the shutting down of Mantah Corp because previously Lewis Dodson knew about them, wanted their technology, and as we see in Jurassic World Dominion, eventually got their technology. Initially, we had no clue how to tie that all together, but now that we know that there was an investigation on Mantah Corp Island and that Biosyn was working with governments across the world, it's obvious that Lewis Dodson probably sent somebody in there to steal the technology and bring it back to Biosyn. So, Mantah Corp was a company we had many questions about when going into Chaos Theory, and now it's a company that we kinda know what happened to, but not entirely. It's something that I'm sure we'll barely hear more as the franchise progresses now, but I think what we did discuss here in today's video makes a lot of sense, to be honest. But what do you guys think? Head on down to the comments and let me know your thoughts about all of this, and why not also leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Don't forget to help us reach 250k by the end of the year by subscribing, but most importantly, make sure you're all staying safe out there, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye. Hello, hi, you. Did you enjoy the video? just a little reminder to press that like button and also subscribe. I just want to thank my Patreons for this month on screen right here, as giving me that little extra support really does go a long way. But anyways, I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day.